So welcome to this episode of Locked In. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about what it's like to ride your bike every single day for 30 days. Now this video is going to apply to any of you cyclists out there or someone who's getting into cycling. I wanted to challenge myself, and I'll get into the reasons why later in this video, but I wanted to see what it was like to literally ditch the car in Orange County, California and ride around literally on one of my many of bikes for every single reason, no matter if it was work, errands, or anything else. So in this video, we're going to be talking about what it was like, what I learned, and what were the results. So please stay tuned, make sure to turn notifications on, and hit subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into this video. So let's go over the premise. Basically, I signed up for a big epic gravel race on May 21st. It's going to be Grinduro. They re-announced it, so I'm going to be doing that event, and it's going to be the most amount of climbing that I've ever done in the shortest amount of miles. It's about 56 miles with 7,500 feet of climbing. Now, as far as me, I just recently started another job, and I've been able to be close enough to commute. So basically what I did every single day was I hopped on my bike, either my road bike or my gravel bike, or even a few times my vintage 1990s mountain bike. If you want to see this build, click the links below. And I would ride about 8.6 miles, give or take, depending on which way I had to go to work. And I did that for every single shift for the month. Now that totaled to about 17 or so miles a day, 20 days out of the month. Now I did do a mixture of my gravel bike, my mountain bike, and my road bike just to keep it fresh, because obviously the route was basically consistent and I wanted just to kind of change it up a little bit here and there. And I will be doing a slight mini series based on this series about other things I've learned and tips and tricks for commuting. So if that's something you're interested in, please make sure to subscribe. I will be going over time difference between my gravel bike, my road bike, and my 90s mountain bike, because I wanted to see, does it really matter when you're doing that short of a commute? As far as numbers go and time spent on the bike per day, I'd roughly spend about an hour to hour 20, because my slowest ride to and from work was about 39 minutes, and my fastest ride that I did was about 26 minutes getting home. And as far as you wondering what that's like compared to the car, Google would give me about an average of 20 to 22 minutes in the car on a similar route to work with similar mileage. So it really didn't take me that much more time. In consideration, yeah, I might have spent an extra 10 or so minutes on the bike, but I got a workout in and I got to work feeling fresh, and I really did like starting my day off like that. And then next, obviously, since I'm riding to work, I did have to bring more food to work. So I typically would meal prep every single day, and on average, I'd burn between 500 to about 700 calories a day. So obviously that meant I'm cooking a lot more food. So what I typically do is I'd bring a meal prepped meal in a reusable Ziploc bag. I would pack snacks like trail mix or mixed nuts, typically a piece of fruit like an apple or banana, and then I would also bring a small water bottle that was a protein shake that I'd bring to work. This tended to satisfy me throughout the day, working an 8-hour shift on my feet all day long, and that allowed me to basically quickly drink something maybe 2 or 3 hours before I would leave for work, so I'd be satiated for my ride home, because typically I would go a little extra hard on the ride home versus the ride to work, because obviously I'm working a full day. So I would typically bring up the intensity, so I wanted to have enough calories, protein, and nutrients on board myself before hitting the road. Keeping basically my eating regime prior to commuting by bike, and really only adding an extra protein shake, depending on the scale that I've checked, I've roughly lost between like 5 and 10 pounds. I've gotten varying results before and after this, because I didn't have the scale that I used when I initially started this, so take that for what it is. But obviously I lost some weight, even though I kept my calorie intake up, and I felt really great on the bike. Now there were definitely some mornings when the headwind was heavy that I was definitely perpetually sore for, I'd say, the first week and a half, and then that started to taper off. Now my off days, because again, the 30-day challenge, I did still have to ride when I wanted to run errands. Typically that was mainly to the grocery store. So I would usually take my 90s mountain bike and just try to go as slow as possible and enjoying the ride, putting some good music on, and just knowing I'm going to go as slow as possible to get as much recovery as I can, because I definitely wanted to be fresh for the following day. Now this was definitely a hard thing to do, because obviously then when I'd be fully loaded with groceries, it'd be really heavy. So I tried to keep those days on the shorter side, and my least amount of mileage in a day for this challenge was about 8.5 miles, and again, that was just a grocery store run. And that being said, I still wanted to do some fun rides obviously on the weekend. Because of my new work schedule, I do work Saturdays, so Sundays was my fun day rides that I would try to ride with my friends. And so what I would attempt to do is on Saturdays, ride again very, very slowly to work, so I would be somewhat fresh for Sundays, but definitely I would feel fatigued if we were doing some bigger miles. So as far as numbers go, I think the biggest ride that we did was about 35 to 40 miles, and I did do another ride that was a lot shorter mileage wise, but had a lot of climbing on my mountain bike, and I was still happy with my results when out on the trail because we think we did about 2,300 feet of climbing in the first 11 miles on that ride. And I was feeling a lot fresher than I thought. So I was super happy to see that it felt like my fitness was really improving. So my total mileage and hours on the bike for this challenge was 507.4 miles and 37 hours and 4 minutes. So as far as those numbers go, obviously for most people, that's an insane amount of miles, and it was for me. Now I have done that amount of miles in a week actually before for my SF to LA trip that I was training for back in the day, but I wasn't actually working at the time. I was trying to be a full-time YouTuber. And if you want to see that full 7-day video, I'll have that in the links below as well. So as far as for most average people, and myself included, I've never done that kind of mileage in a month while working full-time. Ever. Not even close. My best I could probably say is maybe 50 miles a week I could do. So doing over 100 every single week for a month was insane, and I definitely felt it most days. So if you want to attempt this challenge, just know you're going to be kind of just perpetually sore when on the bike. Now that will go away after you warm up, but that warm up time is going to take longer. So those rest days on your days off are going to be critical. Now, unfortunately, because of my schedule, I have 2 days off a week, but they are separated. They're not combined. If they were combined and I was able to take 2 consecutive days off every single week, I think I would feel a lot better, but obviously my mileage probably would have gone down. But that's just something that you'll definitely feel, because after this challenge I was able to take a few days off, and when I got back on the bike I felt incredibly good after having, I think it was 2 or 3 days off. So keep that in mind. Recovery is key, so make sure to be fueling yourself with the right nutrition so that you can help your recovery. So at the end of this, would I suggest someone to do this? Absolutely. I'm really excited to see how this is going to affect my overall fitness for this Grinduro race, because again, it is about at least 1,000 more feet of climbing than it was the previous year. So I really want to see what this basically insane jump up in my mileage is going to do for that race. I am planning obviously to take a week off prior to just let my legs refresh, but I've been continuing this challenge, basically not using a car and riding everywhere. So this is something that if you want to try this challenge, make sure to tag me on Instagram or comment in this video if you've got a video of yourself doing the same thing. I'd really love to see what your results were like. And this is something, again, I'm going to break into multiple different parts as far as how to fuel, how to bring stuff on your bike, and what my bike setup was that I think worked out really well to bring enough nutrition but not be overloaded where your bike's super heavy, how to keep it minimal, and how to make it easier to do everything from what clothes to wear, what to bring with you, how to carry it, what the time difference was between what kind of bike you're riding on, all those different things. And if there's anything else you want me to delve into as far as commuting or just riding every day, put those in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys want to see on the channel, because I'm really excited and happy with my results. So I hope you like this video. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I post on there regularly, and you can see updates and little sneak peeks to what's going to come up on the channel. And lastly, thanks for watching this episode of Locked In.
Let's get locked in today, like the Tory.